We're here.
Mm-hmm.
We're live.
Love having natural light when we're live. Now, Mike has more natural light during the weekday shows. CJ and I never have natural light because they're so late. Mike still gets that California natural light.
Yeah, it's staying lighter, darker.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've spoken today. I'm just realizing.
Good morning.
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 Big beanie guy. Never. Think first time beanie on the pod. I think.
Yeah.
I just grabbed whatever wasn't dirty.
Good choice.
Now we're people do a lot of work to make themselves look good on camera, and I don't do it.
You don't. It's sort of like your thing.
I show up, I put a hat on, or I mess up my hair, and here we are. I get my notes together. Got a bunch of notes.
Beanie, just a beanie note. I sleep with a winter beanie on.
Really?
I would say 8 to 9 months out of the year. Yeah,
Wow.
You sleep with a beanie on?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
my wife does not like. There's a lot of things about me. She just sort of lets slide, and that's one of them. I think
Like you always have, or like at some point as an adult, you're like, this is more comfortable.
I rented an apartment in Old City when I moved back from Chicago, and the ceilings were so high. It was like this big apartment that it couldn't heat up right. So I got used to like just bundling up when I went to bed.
Okay. Yeah.
And I decided I liked something wrapping my head at night, even if I'm not cold. I just kind of like it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like cozy. Somebody asked if I'm a newborn in the chat. Yeah.
This is a good. I don't really remember ever washing a hat.
I wash them a lot because I run in them during the winter.
Oh, okay.
So
I think that, yeah, if I have like a gym hat, then that's an exception. But like normal hats, I don't know. I guess I don't wear them enough.
we ready to start, everyone? Let's go. Little beanie talk, little filter in beanie talk. We still have our beanies up in the merch store. The Rights To RIcky Sanchez beanie. It's a good beanie. The Rights To RIcky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS, and brought to you by Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process. BriggsAuction.com/Ricky. Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process, processrealtor.com. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights To RIcky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged, and Kinetic Skateboarding. Get 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. On the show today, Sixers move to 4-0 with James Harden as he continues his sort of understated greatness. Tyrese Maxey continues to fucking look unbelievable. And maybe, just maybe, Joel Embiid could use a night off or two. Tobias Harris continues to get paid $36 million and get outplayed by George Niang. And that's about it. We'll talk about all that stuff. Kinetic Skateboarding. Today is the last day of the Passport Nike SB Dunk raffle. These are pretty sweet, man. They're like a hiking boot SB Dunk looking thing. Really awesome. Go to Kinetic Skateboarding's Twitter, Instagram for more information. It's Kinetic Skateboarding on IG or Kinetic Skate on Twitter. And while you're there, just shop up. Spring's coming. Maybe get some T-shirts. Maybe get some shorts. Maybe get some new sneakers. Or if you're a skateboarder, get one of those skateboards. KineticSkateboarding.com. 9.1% off your first order with promo code Dave Silver. And also, we want to send love and prayers out to a Ricky listener. This came from Rory. Reaching out to seek positive vibes on behalf of my cousin Chris, who is one of your day one loyal listeners for years. Chris, me, our cousins and close friends have recapped many of your pods on a family group text, riding the roller coaster of emotions with you to nobody's surprise. Chris was totally over the Ben experience. Just a month ago, he was so down on Ben, he thought a package centered around Lou Dort may not even be feasible. Needless to say, Chris has been over the moon since the Harden trade. A recent comment from Chris celebrated us finally having a normal team with the ball moving and people taking open shots. Unfortunately, Chris was involved in a bad auto accident at a wedding in Florida 2 days ago. He underwent immediate surgery in Miami, and his outlook remains touch and go. I have an update on that. Would appreciate any thoughts, prayers, and good vibes from you and from the Ricky universe as we really try to help Chris pull through this. It wouldn't feel right if Chris wasn't at the parade in June. We are sending our love and our prayers out to Chris, his friends, his family, Rory. We've had, through the 9 years of this, nearly 9 years, we've had several in the Ricky community go through tough times, and it always seems like everyone rallying behind them has at least a little bit of help. Good news this morning, I checked in with Rory. Chris had some positive signs, was able to squeeze his doctor's hand when they said his name. So it appears as if, not out of the woods yet, but it appears as if things are going a little bit better for Chris. So sending love and prayers out to Chris.
Absolutely.
Without any further ado, Amos and the Chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights to RIcky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is no longer a regular season bitch. He is a playoff motherfucker. That is one Mike Levin.
If someone has a group chat about this podcast, you have to send it to us. Obligated. Release the texts.
Yeah, you don't want to be added to the group chat.
No. That's
no.
actually not allowed. Please don't. But I will see the receipts.
My brother, whose phone number I give out every year on his birthday for over a decade now, there are some Ricky listeners who on his birthday add him into their group text, and then every time he leaves, add him back in, which is so good. So good. Well, the Cavs opened up last night shooting, 90% from the field. The Sixers defense also looked pretty shit. Embiid has looked, a subpar Embiid is still pretty great, but has looked pretty, I would say, worn out over the last couple of days, but over the last couple of games. But man, Tyrese Maxey, I don't even know what to say about how he continues to get better and better and better. And this thing we're adding Harden, maybe you could have, and I certainly could have imagined a world in which Maxey didn't exactly know what his role was, but it's possible that Harden's inclusion has been the biggest benefit of all the players on the team to Maxey. It's just amazing. And there's a story that I read it with Newbeck from 2 games ago, where Harden sort of said at halftime to Maxey, "Are you going to play today or not?" And there was one play last night. It seemed pretty innocuous in the first half, where Maxey came down the court, pointed at Embiid, and pointed to where he wanted the screen. He went right at the screen for pick and roll and took the guy, got an inch, just an inch of daylight, went right to the basket, beat the defender with a little reverse. And it wasn't a spectacular play, but it was just such a sea change of how he felt even 2 months ago, just sort of deferential, and we wanted him to do more. And now with one of the greatest players of all time in the backcourt, somehow moving Maxey to saying all right, I'm going to do more. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, especially guys haven't, aside from Embiid, guys haven't really gotten better on the Sixers in a decade.
Pretty notably, actually.
Whether it's the high profile guys, some of the high profile guys maybe were never good to begin with, or even the diamonds in the rough guys where you're like, man, if they just get better at this one thing, they usually don't. And Maxey, like, he came out, he was the number 2 prospect out of Texas, went to Kentucky, had like a pretty middling season there, not a terrible one, but pretty middling. That's why he fell. Like, you look at him in college and you go like, okay, what is this guy's like major skill? What's he best at? What is he going to do on the court that he will succeed at the NBA level? And I think too many front offices were just like, well, he's not that good of a shooter. He's a little small. Mm-hmm. He's fast, but he's not like a wizard with the ball in his hands. And it turns out he's just like a really good basketball player. It's just like he tries really hard.
He's getting better at a rate that we've never. I don't even just remember seeing. You saying process years players got a little bit better. Obviously, over the last 5 years, it's been difficult to see people like getting substantially better. But he's getting better at a rate that I can't even remember. Can you remember another player ever getting better?
No, this is extremely unusual. I mean, he's not going to shoot 70% from 3 the rest of the season, probably. But yeah, I mean, like, I've been calling for him to put in a little change of pace into his game because the threat of the shot is now such a weapon and the speed is a weapon that like that last thing, because he's never going to become like a above the rim guy, but that last thing is just like change of pace and hesitation and stuff, and like leveraging his speed with a shot and becoming a 3-level scorer. And he just you start seeing him doing that in a really nice way. And like, there's no more perfect player in the league to like show him an example of, you know, the popular thing was Embiid executing the Harden step back, which is obviously very fun, but like Maxey just showing like Harden being around him as he does like just little change of pace, hesitation, like finding angles and stuff. I generally don't buy that like, oh, the older player always takes the younger player under his wing and they're like looking at film together and he's like moving his legs. So he like, this is how you do it. And it's like, that's why veterans are good for young guys. I generally don't buy that. I think they're too busy to be doing that shit. But I think simply seeing it every day.
Yeah.
Maxey, like watching him do what he's best at every day is like, oh, that is like, it makes you aware of it. And he's starting to see it. And he's just a total package. Like, I love how he uses like tiny windows to finish around the rim. The play you talked about was like, there's like small windows for him to just get the ball. He finishes with either hand. He just knows how to score the basketball. And I blanch a little bit at the idea that he's not a point guard. He certainly has room to grow as a point guard, but every time Doc is like, he's not a point guard, he's just whatever. And I'm just like, he's going to be. He'll be fine.
He's more of a point guard than a 2 guard, I think, at least in the classic sense.
It just doesn't matter. Like, he's just a good basketball player, and you guys, and now that he's not the best passer out there, like his deficiencies, or like not even deficiencies, but things he's like not quite elite at yet, are just easier to stomach. And like putting Harden on the court allows everybody's weaknesses to just like be less of a problem. I mean, this is his fourth straight 20-point game, first time in his career. He's like already going to be a max player. Like, you can just pencil that in in 2 years when he's up. They should give him the extension immediately. I think it's going to work out incredibly. Like, if the Harden stuff, who knows? You never know. But if they give him a contract and say like, okay, this is Harden's last contract, that is like a really perfect time-wise. Like, Harden starts to decline as Maxey keeps like taking the leap. I mean, and he just took over. Like, he took over in the fourth quarter, and it's crazy to see him take over a game when they go under screens, or when he's just like, I can hit my step back against anybody. It's crazy to see him do that on a team with James Harden and Joel Embiid. And then how cool was it when Harden stole the ball from Garland, hit the outlet pass, and Maxey had the dunk, and it just set the building on fire. Yeah. It's a special moment. There's something about like Embiid is,
and he dunks, by the way. He dunks, which is for sure. Love guards and wings who dunk. We've had so many fucking guys since Thad who won't just fucking dunk. He dunks.
He's just like, there's something about a little guard in Philadelphia for obvious reasons. And Embiid is one of the most unique players of all time, but like just something about a little guy doing it gets the crowd like to another pitch of frenzy. And I love him. I just love him, and he's such a joy. He's such a I mean, I would watch. Everybody talks about him all the time. Nobody has anything like bad to say about him, and maybe it'll get tiring to do. But like, he's just like a delight. I wonder if like he was on the process teams and they were losing 65 games a year or something. Like, would he still be this happy? Would he be having this good of a time? I don't know. But like, I don't think we're gonna have to see it. I think he's gonna be the best player of all time. I love him. He's just amazing. He's just incredible. What a treat.
Yeah, and boy, does it just somehow mitigates the, obviously he got traded for Markelle Fultz in some way, it was that draft pick, but somehow it mitigates. And yeah,
does he know?
No.
You don't think Mike Muscala knows that the three he hit in the bubble for Oklahoma City while we were doing a podcast while I was laying on my couch in my shitty apartment?
Do you want me to get him on? We should get him on the pod. Tell him. Just have him on for 5 minutes and tell him. Thank him.
They don't. I looked last night to see if they play Oklahoma City again this year. They don't, because some of the beat writers should ask. But yeah, if we can get Muscala on the pod, I would definitely talk to him about. I mean, he'd probably be like, I don't know. I don't think he'd be a good sport about it. I kind of don't think he would. We could be like, we would have won the championship with you if you stayed one more year. I would say that. But yeah.
Somehow Maxey mitigating for a franchise, the complete implosion of Markelle Fultz and the eventual implosion of Ben Simmons, 2 number 1 overall picks who are supposed to be primary, offensive players on the team. Both of them imploding should prevent you from having a player that you draft yourself at the level that Maxey is playing right now, but somehow it has not. And for all of our bad fucking luck over the last decade, and there has been a lot of bad luck, weird bad luck, what a delight to get one in our favor. Yeah. Honestly, a delight.
He's the man. He's incredible.
Speaking of a delight, I have been obsessed recently with the Briggs Auction website. Ricky sponsor Briggs Auction. BriggsAuction.com/Ricky is where you want to go to register for our giveaways, which happen twice a month. And right now you get 2 out of print Bark in the Park t-shirts and a Ricky Sanchez rookie card. Also, we'll be giving away some Tyrese Maxey rookie cards on there too. Just go in there, enter your email address, and you're registered for all the giveaways. But I got involved in bidding for a tobacco card, a T206 Ty Cobb card yesterday. I did not win it. I've lost every auction. But I was looking, there's one going on now, the Dust Shuttle auction, and found a couple of items for CJ. The vintage mirror room divider.
There you go.
CJ wanted room dividers. How about the mirror one? So you can look at yourself the entire time, and we can see CJ's in the background. Then the next round, the mid-century space age room divider. How about this one?
That's pretty dope.
Would love to see that in the back. And then I saw something for me, this upholstered lounge chair that I think would look awesome if I just sat on that during the pod. Every auction has collectibles, has like all kinds of collectibles from paintings, but then also has house accoutrements, furniture, all that kind of stuff, and no waiting. Right now, all that what's it called, supply chain bullshit makes you wait for furniture. Not with Briggs Auction. 4-generation family-owned and operated auction house, Garnet Valley, Delco, straight up. The lots sometimes are $1 and sometimes are $4,000, like that Ty Cobb card. There are auctions now basically every week. The Dust Shuttle auction going on now. Go to BriggsAuction.com/Ricky. You can see all the auctions. You can sign up, but also you can register for our bi-weekly giveaway. Pick up the stuff that you get on Saturdays, or they can work with you for a shipper and ship it to you. And if you want to get rid of all your stuff, if you have an estate, info@briggsauction.com is where you send an email. Again, briggsauction.com/Ricky. So while we see one player continue to get better with James Harden, we have seen another player really, really struggle. a player that we've talked about a lot struggling this year, but the struggling, I believe, is becoming more pronounced as other people are getting better, and that's Tobias Harris, who just has looked, you can tell, like you can see it in his eyes. He's like the one player who is never smiling right now, and you can see even by the way he plays that when he does something wrong, he doesn't shoot right away. When, Harden drives, gets him the ball on the 3-point line, you can tell he's thinking about it, because he is, for all the things he's doing wrong, he is shooting those more than he normally would. So he's aware of it, but it's not successful. And it's gotten to the point where, and people were mentioning it last night, it's not crazy to think about, they're more effective with Niang on the floor than they are with Tobias Harris. I'm just curious where this goes the rest of the year, because it looks bad right now.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it is not wholly surprising. Like I think there's 3 quiet tournaments going on right now. We'll talk about the other 2. One of which is the backup center, one of which is the which 2 wing players are going to make the playoff rotation. And the other one is like, will Tobias Harris versus himself in, like, can he be a useful player on a successful, efficient team?
And Harden's being nice about it now, but eventually he won't be.
Yeah, you could start to see, I mean, I don't know. I think body language guy reading, like, people talking to each other during a game, especially like veterans on a good team, like sometimes it's an animated thing, and I think you get like, are they mad, or are they just like figuring it out? And you go like, I don't know. But there was starting to be some like animated gesticulating last night. So I don't know. I mean, he took 5 threes, missed them all. That's fine. I'm fine with him doing that. But the clip that's going around is the one where Harden beats his guy. Nice play. Immediate pass to the corner. Tobias has a window. It's not a huge window, but it's like a window that like Danny would take that shot. Niang would take that shot. That might be it.
Korkmaz would take that shot.
Korkmaz that is when he's right, but Korkmaz is not. He's not right now at all.
Right.
He's just like pointlessly on the court at this point. I would give him like a week off.
Send him on a retreat.
But he doesn't. He doesn't take the shot, and then he just like, they get a shot clock violation out of it. There's another play where he missed Matisse cutting to the rim, which Tobias is always 2 beats slow to get the ball out. Always. Never ahead of a pass. Never. And the window closes and it stops possessions a lot of the time. So he misses Matisse on the cut. He dribbles around for 15 seconds, and then he just like turns around and looks for help. And then Harden gets the ball. He's like, fine, I'll do it again. And Harden finds him for an open 3 and gets those tippy toes on the line, and he comes up like, barely glances off the rim. And it's just like, man, he doesn't fit on this team. And everybody knows it. It's very clear. Everybody will say, like, there's other things he can do, but you just don't want him doing it. They're trying so hard to get him involved. And I see the rationale. It's a regular season. I hope that doesn't happen in the playoffs. I really hope. It's a regular season. Like, you would rather have another option in the playoffs when they're doubling hard on those guys and Maxey isn't hitting as many shots or whatever. Something you'd love to just have another option of like that. This is a potential, like, give the guy the ball, get a bucket if other guys are being ineffective. Fine. He's just not that guy right now. And I'm not saying he can't like come out of it. Fine. He almost missed the game with a non-COVID illness. Fine. I just think the best use of Tobias right now is as a cutter. Like, I think that's his best role.
Fucking sad, man.
No, but I think like there's not many guys
slow too, and
but when he's downhill, at least it's something. Like, he's not a catch and shoot guy. We know he's not going to do it. He's not comfortable doing it. He's not great doing it like with any sort of volume. He needs to be moving, getting downhill, catching the ball where there's like less time for him to think about doing the dumb shit with it that he wants to do. Allah called it on the broadcast, Allah called it a James Worthy cut, where he gets the baseline screen and cuts in front of the rim. That's nice. I mean, like, because he's a big target. He has soft hands. Like, he can finish from awkward angles a little bit in there, whereas Matisse on those cuts, you're a little bit like, you better put it right where he needs to. and then ask him to go up with it right away. Tobias has a little bit more, obviously, offensive craftiness down there. I just don't absolutely the Sixers are a better team right now, more regularly, if you replace Tobias with Niang in the starting lineup. 100%. He is, Niang, we should just talk about, is just good. He's just a good basketball player. He shoots with volume. He shoots it high. Doesn't need much of a window. Has a nice little floater when he attacks a closeout. And even calling it attacking at a closeout is tough. When he counters a closeout, it's a slow attack. It's definitely a clumpy flump for sure.
Yeah.
But he's the most important role player on this team, George Niang, by a lot, I think. Because he's obviously slow defensively, but he's big enough to withstand some physicality, and he tries hard, and he's a pretty smart defender. I think he doubles too much, and he's not fast enough to get back. But I think his shooting and his quick shooting and his he's good. He's a good shooter. It's not just volume. It's volume and effectiveness. He even hit the crowd is rising up momentum type three.
Those are big.
When the camera starts to zoom out to see the crowd get excited, and that shot went in. And honestly, when was the last time that shot went in? No one hits that shot. Danny's never hit that shot for sure. Tobias never hit that shot. JJ missed that shot a lot. I feel like Seth hit it once or twice, but that felt like the building's about to explode shot, and the fact that it went in felt rare. But yeah, absolutely, Niang would be a better fit in the starting lineup. But I think they are right to want to try to get Tobias going. I just wonder, in the playoffs, how short is that leash? Because he shouldn't be playing 37 minutes.
Well, the thing
if he's like this,
the thing that you talk about what you could use out of him, the problem with him is that he's not quite effective enough at the two things that you would want him to be. One is a tertiary wing scorer who can get you a bucket when you need one. That's the first version of what you would like. Or you would like him to be, Jay Crowder or, what's the fuck who played in PJ Tucker, who would just stand in the corner and shoot it without thinking about it.
Yeah, you can tell he doesn't like just standing there.
No. So he's not really good enough at either of them. And he's normally decent at the first one, but that has lost him in this particular offense. And I don't think he'll be on the Sixers next year, but we're not worried about next year right now. And him playing well now might make it easier to make him not on the team next year, which works for everybody. So they're going to have to hopefully he gets a little back on track, but they're going to have to make difficult decisions in important times in the playoffs about him.
Yeah, for sure. I thought they went to, I didn't think Millsap was bad last night. He finished with a +5. He tried the dunk and he forgot that he was 37, which I think is pretty good. Millsap would be less of an issue if there were some bigger athletic wings on the team with him, and there's just not. Even if Lamar Stevens, who was on the Cavs, who went to Haverford, then Roman Catholic, would be such a treat, just 6'8", athletic, strong. But they benched Millsap in the second half, or most of the second half. I don't think he played. He might have. And they went to a Tobias, Niang, Danny front court. And I'm pretty sure the reason that they did that, I was like, why is this happening? I don't really understand. Obviously, there's not enough. They got a couple lobs out of it. I was just very confused by it. But I think the reason why they did it was to be well, maybe if there's no center on the court, then Tobias would get going. It just felt like that was a pretty desperate attempt to be maybe if he's the only guy, then he can post up and try stuff. But it's you just don't want him posting up when you have James Harden, Joel Embiid, and a guy playing as well as Tyrese Maxey is right now. You just don't want, there's a finite amount of possessions, and you don't want to waste them with Tobias taking 30 dribbles in the post. You can post him up to I don't know, run the offense from there, but you don't want that to be okay, go get him, man. Because he's not going to get fouled. He's fading away. He's just not that good. And when he's off, it really hurts because there's no bread and butter thing he can just fall back to.
So last two games, the Embiid has not looked as good as he's looked. Some frustration coming through, more bitching at the refs. I've noticed a little more, maybe confusion as to, obviously there's going to be some growing pains with Harden as to, for all the things that look great, they haven't played together very much, so he's not going to know exactly what he wants out of him. But it hasn't been a couple of great Embiid games, and it looks like, you mentioned, body language, and watching it, it feels like he needs a break. Like, he looks a little tired, and he hasn't looked that way all year. And I don't know why it's hitting him now, if that's really what I'm seeing, or if he's just a little irritated that things aren't going his way, the way that they had. But I wonder if he could use a game or two, not in a row, but if they should start thinking about that, because he had to carry such a load for the first 3 quarters of this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'd never mind giving him a day off here and there. They have a back-to-back tonight against Miami. Maybe they sit him. I doubt it.
They're not going to sit him. Yeah.
But Miami's already missing a couple guys tonight. So we'll see. I think when every team should go into a zone against the Sixers, and Cleveland is a good team for it, especially because they already have 3 7-footers out there. One of whom Evan Mobley, who's just like, Isaiah Mobley's his brother. Evan Mobley is just like incredible length, anticipation. Like, he can just get back and recover. He's a really like unique athlete. And in those zone type things, Embiid gets underutilized. And then like they're trying to get him the ball in these like dumbass angles. Tobias throwing an entry pass from like 20 feet away. I'm not really sure why that's difficult. But eventually Joel was just like, I'm like, enough of this. And he just found wherever Darius Garland was at the top of the zone, was like, I'm posting his ass right here. This is where I will be posting up. And then they just like scored a lot out of that set, which was nice and a nice wrinkle for it. Yeah, I mean, even look, I'm body language guy. I don't know. He did seem like kind of like pissed off last night. Maybe he was just unhappy with the effort. It did seem like, strange that they gave up 43 points in the first quarter. Yeah. Yes, Cleveland was hitting shots, but they were like also like attacking Embiid and finishing around him, which was strange. There were some difficult finishes, so maybe it's just like that happens. But it did seem like, wow, that was a lot of like Chetty Osman finishing high off the glass around him. His defensive intensity has like come and gone, I think, a little bit. He's been carrying such an offensive load this season that I think that they've had these like lackadaisical defensive halves when he's just like, I don't know what he's looking like. But I think the main thing is that there's just too many guys in the Sixers that can't contain the ball. They just like get beat off the dribble pretty easily. And that's been the case all season. And Embiid's cleaned up a lot of those mistakes, and sometimes Matisse has cleaned up those mistakes. Matisse wasn't great last night at all. Garland's really good.
We said it last time, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome. But yeah, I think the Sixers went to zone at a certain point, and that did slow them down a lot. I thought that was cool. It was nice to see that. Nice to see like an interesting adjustment, and whether they would try that in the playoffs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, Embiid's still incredible. He still had 22 points on 14 shots, 8 of 9 from the line. Like, he's just the man. He has got that. I feel like he's been even more automatic on the like that left block spinning away from the double team. Just feels automatic right now. Maxey did throw a lob to Joel. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but Embiid's not like a lob guy.
No, he never wants to do it.
Yeah,
he did it a couple times as a rookie. Like, he did, and he definitely did it at Kansas. But he's not springy enough. Like, if he doesn't know that it's coming, I just think he can't get there quick enough. I think it's a choice. I think he could absolutely do it if he wanted to, and he's just like, I don't think, maybe it's like, he's worried about like falling on people or landing on somebody's foot or something. I think he might just be like thinking about what's below him there. And he's more comfortable being like ground bound. But yeah, it's a choice. He could do it for sure. But it's funny to see him like get a lob, and he's like 7 foot, and he's like laying it up as if he's like 6'2".
Yeah.
And yeah, I love everything. There was that Embiid finish where he had that left finishing through contact. That is so fun to watch, because he's like crushing these guys physically. Mm-hmm. And then they call a foul on them. And then also he has the touch to like twist the knife. And that's just got to be a brutal way to live, to be trying to cover Embiid when he's on. And he's great. I would definitely give him a night off, absolutely, on a back-to-back, whatever. But and also get the opportunity to try out some of these backup centers. They have fucking 17 backup centers, and none of them are being trusted.
We'll talk about that in a second, actually. Spring is coming, which means a lot of people are going to start looking for homes, and you will need a trusted realtor. That is Adam Ksebe, Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. The housing market has not really settled down at all, so you need somebody who's going to answer your texts in the middle of the night and who is going to do work for you. That is Adam Ksebe and his team, based out of Long and Foster in Bethany Beach. Adam Ksebe is a beach expert, a Delaware beach expert, which if you're looking for a beach house, Delaware over Jersey every time, lower property taxes and also less crowds. It's just like nicer. Adam can help you out with that, but he's got the rest of his team handles all of Delaware, all of Maryland, and we've had people, including myself, look for homes in other states, PA, New Jersey, New York, wherever you are. If you need a realtor, Adam will find that person for you. We'll think about your needs and literally interviews the other realtors. Never have, at least in the last 2 or 3 decades, has there been a market like this one to buy a home. You need a real good, real guy. No fake realtors, only a real one. Adam Ksebe is the person to help you out with it. Ksebe is Ksebe. If you need him, call or text him at any time. 302-864-8643. That is 302-864-8643. He's helped so many Ricky listeners buy, sell a home, and he will do that for you. I'm telling you, trust him, good person, which above all is really important. Adam at processrealtor.com or 302-864-8643. That is call or text Adam Ksebe, the official realtor of the process. A couple of good shake moments last night. Furkan, just to your point, looks unplayable. I think a week off, maybe even away from the team might be good for him, or watching and soaking in it a little bit, because whatever his ceiling is, he's not as bad as he looks right now. We've seen him be an effective player. Shake had a couple of minutes last night. He still shoots weird, and I don't know what happened to his shot, even though he hit a couple of threes last night. But it does seem like he will end up with those minutes. You know.
Yeah, it was cool to see Shake like be good, because he had a tough. Kate on the broadcast made the point that he had a really great camp, and then he turned the ankle, and then he got COVID, and then he had the back thing. I think Drummond like hit him in the back or something weirdly on a rebound or something. Just never quite hit his stride, and it was cool to see Shake like kind of feel it a little bit, and like a taste of that 1 week back in like January 2020. Yeah. Shake, everybody has a January, and Shake's January was right before COVID shut down.
Yeah.
And Embiid said he'd slap the shit out of him in the bubble, which is great. What a fun, dark moment. But yeah, he was awesome, and it was cool to see him hit a couple shots. He hit the Danny shot from the corner off the catch from a Joel whip pass from the opposite post. That was nice. It was good to see him like get that up fast, as we talked about, like Shake's hesitancy with the shot. Not even hesitancy. He's just like a slow shooter. It takes him a while to like uncork that thing. But he was good, and like his role, there will always be Maxey or Harden on the court. And so he will always be like secondary ball handler, like second side. The ball gets swung to him, like he can do some stuff out of it, and that's nice. He's the only other guy on the team that can do that. So I think like defining that role is good. There was a quote after the game from Doc saying Shake was good. That's 2 games in a row for him. And again, we're going to need one of those guys. And he said him, Danny, Furk, and Isaiah, which I like that he said Isaiah. 2 of those 4 guys by the end of it. 2 of those 4 are really going to have to come through for us. And my answer to that is yes. Also, play Isaiah Joe some. Like, if you're depending on him to do anything, like let's see him do it. Let's see what he looks like with Harden. Korkmaz was bad, which is bad. He's been bad for a while. Danny was getting cardio out there. Like Danny and Korkmaz, they had 23 minutes on the court together. Together, combined. 23 minutes combined. 1 shot. Korkmaz missed a 3, and Danny got a rebound. That is it, and that is not enough. Like there has to be more out of that. I think Danny's going to be one of those guys, just because maybe for like 15 minutes a night.
Yeah,
I think he'll be like fine
because he'll shoot. and at least he knows what to do on defense. You know, even though he's athletically, he's falling apart.
So slow and dumpy. But I would absolutely love to see more Isaiah Joe. Like we've said that all the time. Like let him just see it. Let's work through it. Like play him. And I like that he brought him up. Like it's nice. It's a nice sign, Doc. But like prove it. So that's the other quiet tournament is like which of those guys. Which like because as I said before, like Niang is in. Niang is 100% in. He is vital to this team. I think there will be times when you see him playing with Tobias on the court in the playoffs. Like they're not going to like go deeper in the rotation, but like finding which of those guys is like, okay, healthy enough, capable enough, shooting quickly enough. It's nice because I mean, like they have James Harden. Like it's hard to really fathom that, but like they have so many things are like, we got that. We're just like trying to fill out the like last pieces of the board. And, I mean, the transition game, Harden has improved it so much. Like it's simplified the game in so many ways for guys. Maxey like filling the lanes, just like he used to have nobody else like to run with. So it was Maxey in transition, just like by himself. Now Harden is at least like willing to make those passes to him, which is great. And I want you to start looking at like, watch how often I said this about Embiid, but it's really everybody except for Harden. Watch how often Sixers passes are just like in the general area of a player. Just
as opposed to being directly to the player.
As opposed to being not only that, but like in their shooting pocket. Like there are guys like Harden and plenty of other guys like Trae Young, plenty of guys, where you're passing to them and they just like it's right there and they go up with it. Chris Paul, right there, go up with it. And too many guys, Embiid, Tobias, Danny, everybody. Even Maxey, a lot of the time, like it's just passing like to the general area of a player rather than like, which slows it down. Like if you can get it to their shooting pocket, then they can go right up with it. If they have to catch it on their foot or up above, or they have to jump for it, like obviously that's not good offense. So they need to start like being more purposeful with those passes, other than Harden, who is just incredible.
So so Sixers signed DeAndre Jordan, was not with the team yet. Doc continues to play one center, and that is Paul Millsap. While there are several on the roster, B-ball Paul, of course, basketball Paul Millsap, there's Charles Bassey. They didn't play. They played, Willie Cauley-Stein for 4 seconds and then released him. If they're not going to play any of them,
why are they here?
We talked about the Sixers signing Nick Stauskas after scoring 100 points in 2 games in the G League, and the Celtics signed him. It's just unbelievable that there's so many centers on the team and none of them get played. And with an open roster spot, they sign another fucking center. It's unbelievable. It's Bassey. I distinctly remember Bassey looking good in November.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
He looked competent, grown up. He didn't look like a rookie. He did everything. What the fuck?
He'll make mistakes. Like absolutely. But like now. And I don't mind them trying to play Paul Millsap into shape.
You play him into being 29?
Play him into being a lot younger. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't think DeAndre is the answer. Like Doc's quote in the press conference afterwards was like, he's big. I don't know.
Is that what he said about Jordan?
Yeah, he was just like, he was not like effusive about it. He hasn't gotten on the court much. So I don't know why we're thinking that he will. It's kind of hard to fathom. Like you would, I mean, like get me like 3 more Charlie Browns in there. Get me a backup point guard that can run the offense when, if somebody gets hurt or misses a game or something like that. Because the Sixers are like 1 turned ankle away from like having Korkmaz run point again. Yeah, I don't know why there's so many backup centers in this roster. I don't know. I mean, it's a Daryl question in some sense, at least.
And none of them play.
Why B-ball Paul? Like, I play B-ball Paul and Millsap at the same time. Like, let's see that. Try that out, and let's see. Like, well, we don't have, one of them isn't the answer, but maybe 2 of them are enough to like cover up for mistakes if Harden's on the court. I don't know, but like, I don't. If they thought that Bassey wasn't the answer in some sense or anything, like it would have been nice to just like trade one of them at the deadline for a similar level player who is just like a wing that's athletic. Like it would have been nice to mix in something like that. I just don't know why there's so many like kind of one position players that are, under what circumstance are you going to play all of them? Like what catastrophes will have to happen They're like running remember when the skills challenge used to be like smalls versus bigs?
Yeah.
It's like that. Are you trying to do that? Like, is that the scenario where you're like, just in case the playoffs devolve into like a, funky skills challenge, we got them. I don't know.
What a disaster. I am excited to see DeAndre Jordan. I just like seeing new guys.
Yeah,
I love. Yeah.
That was the best part of the process. It's like, what's he look like in a jersey? Okay.
Yeah.
It's that. That is the answer.
And almost, I would love to know the percentage of it, but it seems like 90% of guys, when they get them the first game that they're a Sixer, we're like, this guy's really fucking good. Like, it's the Ish Smith effect, of the guy coming there and we haven't seen them before. So
the Larry Drew effect.
Yes. Larry Drew too. Well, congratulations to Nick Stauskas, who at some point, if the Sixers play the Celtics in the playoffs, will go off for a quarter or a half or something like that, and DeAndre Jordan will be on the bench being big.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool for Stauskas. Like, it's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, I would love if all those guys. Like, he got a 2-year deal. Like, it wasn't like a 10-day. It was like him and his agent like capitalized from 100 points in 2 nights to getting a 2-year deal from a legit team. That's pretty cool. I want more process guys to get some contracts.
Quick Ben Simmons update. Sean Marks now says there's no timetable for his return, and he is starting to get involved in group activities. There is exactly 4.5 weeks left of the NBA season, and then the playoffs start, which of course was when everything bad happened for him. I do not think he's going to play this year. He's certainly not playing next week against the Sixers, but
very odd, man. They are a half a game out of the 9th seed.
Yeah.
Durant's back, but that's
not
they're
enough.
a half game out of the 9th seed. They will have to win 2 games in a row just to get to the playoffs. I don't get it.
The hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week comes from Brendan McEwen. CJ, I'm thrilled that you're open to my haircut charity idea. That would be, we'll raise $5,000 and CJ will get the haircut of the listener's choice.
Which he has to keep for a week.
We have to keep for a week. I think the shave everything off except for a mustache up front would have to be one of the options that people could vote on. Anyway, CJ, I'm thrilled that you're open to my haircut charity, but man, you have to value your shit higher. A few K can pile up real quick. Ricky fam, can we discuss terms? Like, we can't.
He's a kid. $1,000 for look. He's a little boy, and he set the bar low. But we love him.
Well, he was setting it at like $40 initially.
He was setting it at the price of a haircut.
I didn't understand the question at first. I can confirm I'm a little baby boy, and therefore my hair is not worth more than 5. No, it's valued. 5K is an overvalue. Some might say an overpay. So.
All right. Well, I'll work with I'll just work with Providence Animal Center because they can set up the donation page. That way we don't touch the money or anything. You can go to our charities. But 5K to get, we call it the CJ playoff cut or something. Maybe we do it for the beginning of the playoffs.
Great.
I love mustache in front. And we're also working on, we will have a playoff t-shirt this year. Your comment about not being a regular season bitch and now being a playoff motherfucker. Tanner is working on a t-shirt, and we will have both a clean and dirty version of the t-shirt, because when we put curse words on t-shirts before, people have been upset. And
Harden said it basically last night.
Oh, what did he say?
Like, he's like, the real shit starts in 20 games. And I'm like, wear the shirt, put it on.
Yeah.
Because he's, I mean, it is just cool because Embiid and Harden have both had such like monumental playoff failures. Not that they've all been awful or whatever. Obviously the Sixers have been incredible with Embiid on the court in the playoffs, but like there's been notable heartbreaks on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to like go through it together and try to overcome like both of their demons at the same time is just exciting to think about narratively and like emotionally. And I think it's gonna be cool. And then, Maxey never got to play in a March Madness because of COVID. So he had like the great, they played him in the Hawks series. It's crazy that like Maxey's our 3rd best player right now and like barely played in some playoff games.
Did save one game basically.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Just like TJ before him. But yeah, I think everybody's got a lot to prove, including, I don't know if he feels this way, but including Doc. He might not think he has a lot to prove, but like he fucking does.
Would you ask Papa? Would you suggest something like that about Pop? Would you?
Would I?
Yeah.
Well, let me look at the resumes. Let me just take a couple.
The mailbag. Oh, before we get to the mailbag. Oh, $50. There we go. From Dominic Eastburn. Shave the top, leave the sides. I like that. We're up to, we haven't even set up the GoFundMe yet. We're up to 150. You can donate on YouTube too. We'll take the money there. I'd rather but if you want to donate now for us to pick CJ's playoff haircut, you could do it right there. Before we get to the mailbag, LL Pavorsky Jewelers is the first sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. Love him. Just took the worst, obviously had really great seats the other day for the Harden game. He was on the floor. Wondering if you saw his just horrible picture that he took and he posted online.
No.
Just completely blurry. And then I made fun of him for it, and he took another one that was half of the head of the person in front of him. Just stumbling. Stumbling. But a wonderful guy and a great, great, great jeweler, has been in business over 30 years and demanded, has as long a member of this community as anybody, demanded that we accept advertising, and has supported our charities all the way through, but has sold engagement rings to over 250 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners, and one Rights to Ricky Sanchez co-host, that is Mike Levin, for his fiancee Alyssa. Just amazing, and it has been on all the Fly the Process and Bust the Process trips. Just a little much, but
I do know in
all the right ways.
Some other people that are going imminently.
Oh, really? To LL?
Mm-hmm.
Would I know these people?
I don't know.
Oh.
Look, LL plays it very close to the vest about those kinds of things. He saw my parents and brother at times. Didn't say anything for a year and a half after I'd
He's a lockbox.
seen the ring. He's a lockbox, so I will have to honor that and be the same.
All right. Yeah. Okay. But that's a good point. If you want to buy an engagement ring from LL, make an appointment. It's better to do that. No pressure, no anything. Just a good guy trying to get you a ring. Give him a call, 215-627-2252, or you can send him an email. That is lee@llpavorsky.com, or you can tweet at him, looking at his poor photography skills, but also great jeweler skills, at LL Pavorsky. Supporter of our charities, that is Providence Animal Center and Coded by Kids. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
It's not LL Pavorsky Photography.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Send us a basketball and a non-basketball question. Also, I saw a donation of 200 something. I don't know what that currency is. Do you know what that currency is? I don't know. Looks
CJ,
like
what is this youth money?
No clue.
Okay.
200 something.
A Y with two lines through it.
Yeah, I don't
know.
know.
Like the
Yen.
Y100 logo.
That's yen. So 200 yen. I think yen is worth more than the dollar, isn't it? I think so.
I don't know.
TJ will find out.
I'm gonna
Or
show my
CJ
ignorance here.
CJ will find out.
Not a money guy.
Yeah.
In any form.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. CJ?
It is the equivalent of $1.74.
Oh, that's fucking bullshit.
I respect the troll.
It's like a peso. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Send us a basketball and a non-basketball question. From Jake, out of our homegrown role players, Furk, Shake, B-Ball Paul, Isaiah Joe, and Bassie, whose elevated play would have the biggest impact on championship aspirations for this year? For example, would Furkan's three-point shooting regressing to the mean have more substantive impact on the Sixers' title chances than B-Ball Paul actually playing within himself and functioning as a backup big? What do you think? If you could pick one of those to be their best self, who would that person be?
B-Ball Paul.
It would be the most fun, for sure.
It would be the most fun. It would be the most, like, the best self. Like, obviously, no one's going to transform into a fundamentally different player. But if B-Ball Paul can play 8 to 10 minutes a night of competent backup center, where he's also, like, if they're switching everything and he's, like, using his length to, like, deflect balls, and he's getting out in transition, he's running some, like, pick and roll with Harden, and he's doing a little bit of popping, he's hitting a three in the playoffs, like, that would be incredible. And the idea of surviving, not only surviving, but, like, enhancing those non-Embiid playoff minutes with Harden out there would be really, really huge. No matter what, like, someone is going to be, like, decent enough, whether it's Isaiah Joe or Korkmaz or Shake, to, like, even if they play like 6 minutes of basketball in the playoffs, like that is less of a huge thing because of they're already like 3 plus Tobias 4 like locked in guys for like high 30s minutes.
Yeah, I don't even really know what Isaiah Joe's ceiling is right now. So it's hard to even imagine what that would be, him as like a consistent, 16-minute a game guy.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be him shooting a ton off the catch from like even beyond the 3-point line, like people like busting it to try to like go get his ass, like, and fight around screens and stuff, and they're working him through like Iverson cuts and whatever, and he's like taking charges on defense and hustling and running out in transition and hitting like 3 threes in like a minute and a half, which would be cool. And I think that that's worth seeing if he can like get it together for those things. But I just think they will be fine when Embiid is on the court, and there's a good chance that they're not when he's.
It's a good thought. Non-basketball question: if you and Mike had to work as teachers for 1 year in the school district of Philadelphia, what subject and grade would you both choose to teach? Bonus question: what activity or club would you sponsor? It can't be coaching a sports team. It has to be something like chess club, debate club, open mic, etc. What would you?
I would probably. I mean, I assume I would teach English, although I'm pretty lax about what is like officially official, like what is textbook linguistics. Mm-hmm. But who gives a shit? I would teach some kids some cool stuff. I mean, this brings me to something I've been meaning to say for a long time. I've had it on my notes for forever. You're not a TV comedy guy, but Abbott Elementary is a great show.
I've seen people talking about it on the internet.
It's awesome. It is easily the best TV comedy that I've seen on network in a long time, that I haven't worked on, including the ones I've worked on, because that's unfair to say. But it's funny. It's like good right away. It's interesting. It's like has a point, and it takes place in Philadelphia, and there's a ton of Philadelphia references in it, and not like the obvious ones, like the like low key ones. Quinta Brunson's from Philly, and she's cool, and it's a really funny show. It's really, really funny. We watched it last night. I don't watch much network comedy because it's like that's what my job is. So it's bizarre to like something and watch it by choice, but it is really good. And it's getting great ratings. So it's going to go for a long time. It's going to be a thing for a long time. So I definitely recommend watching that and supporting that show. What club? I mean, I don't know. I would do a play. I would direct a play. That'd be fun. Alyssa used to direct like 8-year-olds in like Willy Wonka, and it was a nightmare. They would just keep eating the chocolate bars on stage, and it sounds really funny. I would lose my mind for that, but I think it'd be fun to do.
I think I would just teach history because it doesn't involve any knowledge. It doesn't involve like English or math involves sort of like skill on some level, whereas history is just stories and information that I feel like I could remember. So I was fine at math and fine at English, but I would probably pick history. I don't even know what club I have no idea. Is there a debate club? Seems like I'd probably be good at that. So I'll go with that one. Mm-hmm. Hey, this comes from Alex. Basketball question. We all know that basketball B-ball Paul and Charles Bassey are destined to be the new Nerlens and Rashawn, right? 2 talented centers that we refuse to play and develop in favor of useless vets who will instantly thrive as soon as they're sent somewhere else to a team that actually believes in their potential, all while we continue to complain about being unable to fill that position.
Yes.
That's kind of a sad, true email.
Yeah.
It's not really a question.
Absolutely. And they're both similar shaped to their forefathers as well. Like Rashawn a little smaller, but like thick, and Nerlens and B-ball Paul both like wiry and weird.
And then non-basketball question. Do you know anyone personally who is polyamorous?
Do I? No, but on the show that I was just on, a writer's, her brother-in-law and sister-in-law are. And so I heard a lot of, intriguing stories. I have a lot of questions. A lot of questions.
I do not. I don't. I can't imagine a way in which that works. I personally, I understand the issues with monogamy, but maybe it's just because I'm generally a kind of jealous person. Obviously, the older I've gotten, the less jealous I've gotten because I think
there's a difference in the open marriage where you're like, yeah, we occasionally do it. Whereas polyamory, my impression, at least from the very limited stuff that I know, is like that's your whole life. You are like collecting relationships left and right, and the relationships are hard to keep track of and remember like what the dynamics are. That just seems like who's got the time?
Yeah.
Who's got the time?
CJ, I'm giving you permission to block that guy on YouTube who insists on fighting about politics with everybody in the chat. I want him to be clear as he's listening to it that it has nothing to do with his political ideas specifically. It has to do with the fact that he's arguing about politics with people in a fucking YouTube basketball chat. Please stop it. Either stop it or leave. So the next time you do it, I'll have CJ ban you. Again, it is not because of what you think. It's because you're being a dickhead. This comes from Sean. I thought this was interesting because I think we've talked about what this award means. Ja's awesome. We all know Ja's awesome and has been from day one. However, a number 2 pick in the draft going from very good to great is not a most improved player. A guy who wasn't even in the rotation becoming Tyrese Maxey is the most improved player. He has literally doubled his averages in every major stat. Now, I know you generally don't care about most improved player, but I'm wondering if you have an opinion on that.
It's tough because they generally don't give it to second-year guys because
that's when you make a leap.
That's when you're expected to do it anyway.
Yep.
I actually don't agree. I think we too often go from like Maxey's obviously made an incredible leap and he should be in the conversation 100%. But I think like going from very good to like MVP level or like carrying a team level at least, and Ja's pretty close to that. I think is a next level that I think most improved like should do more rather than like, hey, this guy's like somewhat like now playable in the playoffs kind of thing. So I think there's a bunch of good options. I'm just looking at the odds right now, but I think Ja's great. I think Garland has taken a massive leap. I think DeJounte Murray is incredible. Anthony Simons is another kind of thing with Maxey where it's like they just now have more opportunity to do it.
But his numbers are pretty fucking sick.
Absolutely.
And the Blazers have not been bad with him doing that. It's not like they've been good, but he's scoring like 30 points a game. It's like fucking crazy.
But so much of it is opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes hard to like delineate. Like obviously Maxey's doing it on a very good team, like in a high pressure situation, whereas Simons is like, I think he's good. He's on my fantasy team. He might win me in the league. I made some trades. Things are heating up. But it's also like he's just out there shooting. He's just like I think he's good, but like it's also there's no he's not gonna get pulled if he starts like making mistakes or anything. So I would say if I'm looking at it, like I think Ja's a good pick. Not a Miles Bridges guy, but some people really like him. DeJounte I think is there. DeRozan going from like I think he's been doing this for a while, but doing it on this high of a level I think is interesting. Kuzma's been great.
Yeah.
Kuzma's been really, really good, and that's unexpected how much better he's gotten. But yeah, I mean it's a good year for most improved. I don't know if anybody gives a fuck, but I think I prefer giving it to not just who has more of an opportunity to succeed, but who has like really upped their game to the next level and like caused team success because of it. And I think Ja's the answer there.
So Ja Morant at DraftKings is minus 1,400, so he's going to win it. Miles Bridges at plus 900, Garland at plus 1,500, DeJounte Murray at plus 1,600, Simons plus 3,500. Jared Allen would be an interesting pick, I think, going from like good to all-star level at plus 7,000 and Maxey at plus 7,500.
Yeah, maybe this is my like anti-big bias showing, but like I think Jared Allen has gotten better, but a lot of what has gotten better is that Darius Garland is making things very easy for him.
And I think not just because I've talked about it. Herro is at plus 15,000. Him going from having a noted step back his second year to becoming favorite for sixth man of the year and basically averaging 25 and 5 on the first seed, I think is a pretty notable jump as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking forward to, a lot of people are going to listen to this after the Miami game when it's already happened, but interested to see how they fare in the playoffs because they're good, but their offense is occasionally sluggish. Mm-hmm. Lowry's old and good, but like not quite like dependable at this point. Jimmy's shooting like 19% from three or something crazy. Bam is great, but also limited. There's a lot of limited guys around like really good shooters, like, Duncan Robinson and Max Strus and even PJ Tucker. And then Herro is the kind of guy that like they're going to need him a lot in the playoffs. And I'm interested to see how he performs when he's like kind of the focal point of the defense.
And final question, this comes from Vincent. I can't believe this is the first time we've addressed it. Hey, Spike and Mike, non-basketball question. How do you think Sixers photographer and known friend of Ben Simmons, Alex Subers, is feeling right now? This came in right after the trade. It seems like it has really settled in and he's become friends with other Sixers players from social media and isn't exclusively friends with Ben anymore. Was half surprised he wasn't part of the trade package to Brooklyn. Do you think he stays with the Sixers after this season? And do you think Ben and Alex have to have a friend breakup? Now, I would like to say I don't know Alex personally, though I've met him and he's always been nice to me on internet-wise, so I'm sure he's a good guy. It wouldn't be surprising to me if Ben had less use for a friend whose job wasn't taking pictures of him. That's the only thing I would say out of that. He was noted. He was in like every time Ben did anything socially, the only person that you would see from the Sixers organization in those videos and pictures was Alex Subers. So
yeah, a little weird. I could see it. I could see him like getting traded to Brooklyn. I don't know
Can
that
you
works.
trade a photographer?
I think you could. I think our friend Charlie Widows is running digital over there.
He is.
Strange. It would be strange if he left. I think like people were shouting out Supers for I think a little while before then, like not just Ben, like Matisse and Maxey and whoever was I think Shake sometimes we'll talk him up, but he is such Ben's guy, it seems, that like it's odd that they're not together anymore, and I could see him being like, all right, I'm gonna upgrade and go to Brooklyn with Ben. So, but is that newsworthy? I don't know. It's sort of what a deep cut of like a team drama of like Ben's photographer staying with the team.
Do you need a photographer for a player who does not play?
I don't know.
What's the value of that for the Brooklyn Nets? So we will be back later in the week. The reason that we are not doing this after the Miami game is because I have to travel for work tomorrow morning on Sunday morning. So we would have normally done that. That is normally the strategy, but we were not able to do it.
But we're feeling good. They're back to back. If they lose tonight's game, it's fine.
Yes.
Let's just say it. They've won 5 in a row. They haven't lost to James Harden. They liked having everyone said it after the game, a little adversity. It's good. It's all good. We are ramping up for the playoffs. Maybe they never lose again. Maybe Maxey's the best player of all time. Maybe we're going to live forever.
You mentioned Abbott Elementary. I saw the original Scream like 10 times in the theater. I love that movie a lot. Did not watch many of the sequels. We did watch the reboot one, which was last night, which was surprisingly good. I actually thought it was funny in a lot of ways. I like the movie inside a movie inside a movie inside a movie thing. You don't like scary movies, but it's not scary. Did you watch it or no?
No, still too scary.
Oh.
That was like the original scary movie. I've said the story before, but we watched it at my uncle's when I was like 6 or 7, and walked into the car at night, and he like jumped out of the bushes, scared the shit out of me, and I've never liked scary movies since. No, thank you.
We'll talk to you later this week. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, Lick face.